For decades, the name Jeffrey Epstein was whispered in courtrooms, boardrooms, and private jets. A billionaire with no clear business model, a private island, a black book filled with some of the most powerful names on Earth. But the real story did not begin with Epstein. It began with the files. In 2005, police in Palm Beach received a complaint that would quietly ignite one of the most disturbing investigations in modern American history. What followed would expose a web of influence, money, political pressure, and silence. A system that protected power while victims were ignored. The Epstein files were not a single document. They were thousands of pages of depositions, sealed court records, witness statements, flight logs, photographs, financial transfers, plea deals, and classified correspondence between law firms, prosecutors, and government agencies. Most of them were never meant to be seen. The first wave of secrecy came in 2008. Despite overwhelming evidence collected by local police, Epstein received an extraordinarily lenient plea deal. The agreement allowed him to avoid federal prosecution, serve minimal jail time, and continue living in luxury while his accusers were silenced by confidentiality agreements. Years later, internal emails would surface showing that federal prosecutors had been pressured by people with connections far above Epstein himself. The files reveal that Epstein did not operate alone. He operated inside a network. Flight logs documented repeated trips aboard Epstein's private jet, later nicknamed the Lolita Express. These logs included politicians, business executives, royalty, scientists, and media figures. The names alone raised questions that no court had yet answered. But the most disturbing material was not the names, it was the pattern. Witnesses described a system of recruitment, transportation, payments, intimidation, and protection that spanned states and international borders. Multiple victims reported the same locations, the same procedures, the same handlers, the same threats. And every time an investigation approached the upper layers of this network, it stopped. In 2015, journalist Julie K. Brown reopened the case. Her reporting forced sealed documents into the public eye. Depositions that had been locked away for years suddenly became visible. They described private islands, hidden rooms, surveillance cameras, and carefully organized operations designed to compromise powerful people. Some files included claims that Epstein recorded encounters. Others referenced hard drives, safes, and digital archives. None of those materials were ever fully recovered. Then came 2019, Epstein was arrested again, this time on federal charges. The world watched as one of the most guarded prisoners in the country was placed in a high-security facility. And then he died, officially ruled a suicide. But within hours, cameras malfunctioned, guards fell asleep, records went missing, and the public's trust collapsed. The Epstein files did not close with his death. They multiplied. Ghislaine Maxwell's trial exposed only a fraction of the network. Prosecutors focused narrowly on a handful of charges while vast portions of the investigation remained sealed. Even today, many of the files remain locked behind court orders and national security classifications. It is a power story. It shows how influence can bend justice, how money can slow investigations, how secrets can protect entire systems. The Epstein files reveal something larger than one man. They reveal how far institutions will go to protect themselves, and they leave us with one haunting question. If this much was hidden, what else remains in the files we are never meant to see? For years, the world believed the Epstein case ended the night he died inside a federal jail cell. But the truth is, that night did not close the case. It only opened something much larger. Because Jeffrey Epstein was never the center of this story. He was the doorway. What lies behind that doorway is a network of silence, sealed records, political pressure, private settlements, destroyed evidence, and unanswered questions that continue to disturb journalists, investigators, and victims alike. The Epstein files are not a single collection of papers. They are tens of thousands of pages spread across police departments, federal agencies, courts, law firms, financial institutions, and intelligence offices, many of which remain sealed to this day. And every document that becomes public seems to raise far more questions than it answers. Part 1. The Unlikely Billionaire. Jeffrey Epstein's rise was as unusual as it was opaque. He had no known college degree, no clear business model, and yet by the late 1980s he was embedded among the global elite. His clients included billionaires, politicians, scientists, royalty, and hedge fund executives. He owned multiple properties across continents, maintained a private island, and flew constantly on a personal jet. Where his wealth originated remains one of the central mysteries of the case. Public financial records show complex trusts, offshore accounts, shell corporations, and unexplained capital transfers, a structure so layered that even forensic accountants have struggled to trace it completely. And yet he moved through the highest social circles on Earth. Part 2. The first allegations. In 2005, police in Palm Beach received a complaint from a local family. Their daughter described being paid to give Epstein a massage, which escalated into sexual abuse. Detective Joseph Recaray began an investigation. He soon discovered that this was not an isolated incident. Multiple girls independently described nearly identical experiences. They named the same locations, the same procedures, the same methods of recruitment. Over time, police documented dozens of victims. The evidence was substantial. The charges should have been severe. But in 2008, something extraordinary happened. Part 3. The deal that shocked prosecutors. Federal prosecutors agreed to a secret non-prosecution agreement. Epstein avoided federal charges. He served minimal jail time under a work release program. His victims were not notified, a violation of their legal rights. Later investigations revealed internal emails showing serious disagreement among prosecutors, with some warning that the deal was deeply inappropriate. Those objections were overruled. Why? That remains one of the core mysteries of the Epstein files. Part 4. The network question. As journalists reopened the case years later, new material emerged. Flight logs, contact lists, calendars, phone records. They documented Epstein's extraordinary access to powerful figures across industries and governments. But the presence of names and records does not establish wrongdoing. What it does establish is proximity. Proximity to a man operating a criminal operation for years without serious interference. Investigators repeatedly encountered resistance when attempting to explore how Epstein was protected and why investigations stalled. Part 5. Sealed files and silenced voices. Hundreds of civil suits were settled under strict confidentiality agreements. Depositions were sealed. Documents were locked behind court orders. Victims described intimidation, surveillance, and pressure to remain silent. And again, journalists attempting to dig deeper encountered sealed records justified under national security, ongoing investigations, and privacy concerns. Part 6. 2019. Arrest and death. When Epstein was arrested again in 2019, many believed the full truth would finally emerge. But weeks later, he was found dead in his cell, officially ruled a suicide. Cameras malfunctioned, guards were asleep. Records were incomplete, public confidence collapsed. Part 7. Aftermath. Epstein's death did not end the case. It intensified it. His associate Ghislaine Maxwell was convicted on trafficking-related charges, but her trial addressed only a narrow portion of the larger story. Most of the Epstein files remain sealed. Conclusion: the case that still lives. The Epstein scandal is not simply about one criminal. It is about systems of power, secrecy, and influence that operate beyond ordinary accountability. It is about how justice can be delayed, diluted, and sometimes denied when wealth and connections dominate the process. And it is about the victims, whose voices were ignored for far too long. The Epstein files are not finished. They are waiting.